Call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. All members are present. Approval of the agenda. We have the Public Works report from Ben Klink to be put in right after the police chief report. Is there any other changes? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with that addition?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane.
Second.
Second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approval of the minutes, March 4th, 2020 regular meeting. You all received them in your packet. Is there any changes, corrections, or clarification needed? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the March 4th, 2020 regular meeting?
So moved.
Motion by Heidi, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. This brings us to our public open forum. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the council? Is there anyone that would like to speak to the council? Call a third time. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the council? Our public open forum is now closed. We have no public hearings. Brings us to our reports and presentations. Police report. Brian?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Activity report for February 2020. Some of the numbers we had 12 personal assists. We did 82 assists for businesses. We had 26 assists for other agencies. We had 17 citizen contacts. We did 21 matter of information calls we received, 19 medicals. Gave out 9 citations for driving with no Minnesota driver's license. We found 4 open doors. We patrolled at the school 27 times. Walmart 48 times. Suspicious activity calls, we had 17 of those. We gave out 158 verbal warnings. So we had a total number of calls of 421, and verbal warnings 158, so a total number for the month was 579. And compare that to 2019, very similar in calls, just a couple more, and warnings about this, everything about the same. And pretty comparable to a month ago also, so no real changes. Pretty slow time of year. It should be good, except for everything going on now.
Any questions or comments for Brian?
Sure is a lot of people driving without a license.
Yeah, there sure has been lately.
Thanks for catching them.
Yeah, we try.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Yep.
Public Works report. Ben?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. What we've been up to in February this year, the stormwater pond at the industrial park, we had an inlet cleaned out coming into the pond. About 40 yards of material was excavated and hauled away out of there. We continue on ash tree removal in the road right away as we have time to work into our schedule. The arena, ice was removed, process went very smooth and everything was cleaned and sanitized in the building. Live barn, has begun the installation of the video camera equipment in the arena. So they're working on testing that right now, and we have some training tomorrow on it on our end, just on how it all works. And then we're working on some general building maintenance up at the arena since the ice is out. Potholes, we demoed a few asphalt trailers here this past month, and we took the opportunity to fill some potholes with our cold patch material. This isn't something we've really been able to do much in the past just because of our current trailer situation, but being able to warm up the material made it bind much better in the potholes and hold up through the freeze thaw weather that we're having, so that was nice. The 4-in-1 plow that we ordered was received in February. We wired and installed all the necessary hydraulic and electrical lines to the loader, so this unit is operational and ready to work. There were numerous storm sewer lines that needed to be steamed in order to thaw the frozen line a few weeks ago, so all the storm sewers are currently operational. At the airport, we spent some time doing snow removals in areas where snow had built up to allow for water runoff to drain properly and not pool on the runway as things melt here. And we're currently prepping the street sweeper for spring cleaning of the streets, and we're in the planning process right now for 2020 seal coat and crack fill projects. Any questions for me?
Questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Sauk Center Public Utilities Commission report.
Just give you a little update on the Public Utilities Commission. They did meet last month. A couple of things on their agenda, that they did purchase a new lawnmower from Midwest Machinery. The public utility actually mows quite a bit of grass with the water tower, the water plant, the sewer plant, and all their different wells. So that is a necessary purchase for them. They approved some bills for a home on Maple Street, and that was the result of a customer service line breaking due to them installing a new water meter, so they had to repair that. They did approve the hiring of summer help for this year, and they did get an update on Justin Henricks. He's one of their employees that had hurt his hand. He's improving daily. They're going to be seeking local bids to reside warehouse number 2, which is the warehouse behind their building. And they had their auditors here March 3rd through 5th. So, and this is kind of what they're going to be doing now, is they're going to be sending over a report, an update report, after they have Public Utility Commission meetings, and then I can include them in the packet. And there'll be times when they'll actually come and give the report themselves, but as an effort tonight to keep as many people, staff that don't need to be here, not here, then she just let me give it for her this time. So.
Questions, comments? Just one thing to add, they were installing the new water meters, and they've halted that installation until we get done, see what's happening with this COVID-19, so.
Right.
Once that's done, so residents, if you did get a tag on your door, you can call in and schedule it, but it's not gonna happen until this hopefully blows over, so. Planning Commission, Sarah?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. In your packet, you have a copy of the Planning Commission agenda. We held a meeting on March 10th. We did have 2 public hearings at that meeting, and they were for variances, and that will be an action item a little later on the agenda. You have a copy of the building permit report. Actually, we were up for February, which is good. Usually, like I always say, the December, January, February, March is always kind of slow. And then you have a copy of the February building permits, and then also the quarterly building permit value. So we're at about $500,000 already this year in new construction value, which is really unusual for, the first quarter of the year.
Questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move on to action items. 7A, approve resolution 2020-27 approving variance to Magnificent Properties LLC.
Okay, the Planning Commission, acting as the Board of Adjustment, conducted a public hearing on March 10th to consider a request for a variance from Brock Lee Geld. He is Magnificent Properties LLC. The property is described as Lot 2, Block 1, Kate's Estates, 2nd Edition. The property address is 859 and 861 Kate's Estates Drive, and that's new development up on the north end of town across from the golf course. The request is for a variance from the road right-of-way, allowing a 22-foot setback where 30 is required by code, and a variance from the rear setback of 17 where 25 is required. Approval of the request would allow for the construction of a twin home on the property as part of that development. One twin home has been completed, another has been permitted, and this would be the 3rd and final twin home. The reason for the request is due to the cul-de-sac protruding into the property, which in turn makes the depth of the lot more narrow. Approval of the variance would allow for the construction. The rear of the home is along Main Street, the Main Street Trail, The only part of the home that would protrude into the rear setback is the rear porch. And if you see on the next page, there's a copy of the survey, and it's on house number 861. There's a little red arrow. On the left side of your page, that's the porch that protrudes into that rear setback. And then on the road side, we're looking at a 22-foot setback where 30 is required, and you can see that on the road. It's just that really small corner of the house that protrudes into the setback. The Planning Commission recommends that the variance be granted at a setback sufficient to allow a minimum of 20 feet between this home and the neighboring home to the north. Now, this drawing here shows 23.3 feet. The Planning Commission approved if they can slide that house down, and the talk was 22 feet, but the surveyor is saying that the 22 feet would be sufficient to allow 20 between the house and the house to the north. So that is what the variance is for. And I did include in your packet a copy of Resolution 2020-27, and that would grant the variance from the Main Street side of 17 feet and the Cates Estate side of 22 feet.
Questions, concerns? Everyone understands what the variances are? Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2020-27, granting the variance to Magnificent Properties LLC?
I'll second.
Motion by Joe,
Keith?
or Keith?
Yep.
Motion by Keith. You're too far away, Keith, I can't hear you. And seconded by Diane. Any other comments? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7B, approve Resolution 2020-28, approving the variance for Rick Mortz.
The Planning Commission, also acting as the Board of Adjustment, conducted a public hearing on March 10th to consider a request for a variance for Richard Mortz. The property address is 410 Pendergast Street. The request is to allow for a 1,980 square foot attached garage on a new dwelling unit proposed for the property. The city code currently limits the size of the attached garage to 1,200 square feet and also limits the cumulative amount of attached or detached garages or accessory buildings to 1,800 square feet. This property exceeds both limits. The variance, if approved, would allow for the construction of the new home with a 1,980 square foot attached garage. The applicant explained the purchase for the larger attached garage is so that all their mowers, cars, collector cars, camper, boat, and dogs would be under one roof and stored indoors. The lot itself is oversized and would allow for the home to be set back further from the roadway to minimize the impact on the neighborhood. The garage would have 3 doors facing the street, similar to other 3-car garages. The exposure to the street would be 45 feet of home and 45 feet of garage. And you will see that on page 24 and 25 of your packet. You'll see the outline of the layout of the floor plan, I should say, of the house. And then of the aerial view, the proposed setback from Pendergast Street would be far enough a road to be similar to the neighbor's detached garage, if you can see that on there. There's a green X on that, if you can follow that. So they're going to be set back quite a ways from the street. The Planning Commission recommends that the variance be approved. I do have Resolution 2020-28 granting the variance to Richard R. Mortz in your packet for your review.
Questions? Comments? Do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2020-28, granting the variance to Richard R. Mortz?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Aye. Motion carries 4 in favor, none against, 1 abstention. 7C, approve Resolution 2020-22, awarding the bid for hot mix trailer.
On February 19th, the City Council approved Resolution 2020-18, authorizing the solicitation of quotes for the proposed purchase of a hot mix trailer or asphalt trailer. Quotes were received following the use of a demo model. We had one from Step Manufacturing and one from Lorson, and the prices were $42,951 and $41,978, so about a $1,000 difference in the trailers. Both models were based upon the Minnesota State bid process. Public Works Department is requesting approval to purchase the step model, which is the one that is $1,000 more. But because some of the features on the step are not available on the Falcon, one is the oil jacket of hopper instead of air, which would transfer heat better. This is the number one reason that it's more expensive and then a better unit. It has a lower hopper height, it's lowest on the market, and that's easier loading and better safety. And there's oil bath axles and hubs, and also it's made in Minnesota, so it's easier for getting parts and service. I also included in your packet an email that I received from Ben Klink, kind of talking about how they would use that they would be able to warm up the cold mix in the winter, and some of those other reasons that he already talked about. And so it is the Public Works Department that we do purchase the step model, and I have that resolution 2020-22 accepting the quote for the purchase of the trailer in the packet for your review with those reasonings for the purchase.
Questions, comments? Was there a reason, Ben, that you went with the oil bath axles and hubs, or is that just come standard?
That's standard on the step.
Okay. Any other questions?
What did we have budgeted for this? Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2020-22 accepting the quote for the purchase of the hot mix trailer from Step Manufacturing? Motion by Keith, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Recognize volunteers for National Service Recognition Day.
National Service Recognition Day is April 7th. This is something that we do most every year. The Foster Grandparent Program in Central Minnesota, they're run locally by Catholic Charities. This year, 9 volunteers served 3,723 hours volunteering at the Beacon Program, Holy Family School, Pumpkins and Monkeys Preschool, and Sauk Center Public Schools. And so we wanted to recognize these 9 individuals, and I can read them, or the mayor can if you like.
Go ahead.
It's Myrna Bauman, Anna Mae Dieters, Jan Durbin, Judy Heinze, Marilyn Eulenkamp, Pam McClellan, Judy Reller, Roberta Olson, and Jody Odegaard. And so I guess what we're looking for tonight is just to publicly recognize these 9 volunteers for that National Service Day recognition.
I think on behalf of the council and general consensus and citizens of Sauk Center that we congratulate and recognize these 9 volunteers for what they do.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Unfinished business, 2020 street improvement projects.
So we have the 2 projects that we're still working on. We have the 2020 CIP and then wrapping up the 2018 CIP. So on the 2020, which is the Elm Street North, Elm Street South, and Lake Street, the project is currently live on the bidding website. The contractors are putting their bids together. We've had several plan holders request bids. The bid opening is next week, actually March 26th here at City Hall. So we'll talk about how we're going to accommodate that. They're currently putting together the easement documents. I did send that to our new city attorney, and I received word back today and comments on that from him. And so then those will be put in place. And then we're going to talk about I'll talk with the city engineer, whether we'll meet with those homeowners in person. We're trying to do as much as we can electronically. But we'll be taking those easements, getting the legal descriptions on them, calculating out the price that we are proposing to purchase them from. And once that's all put together in a document form, we'll bring it back to the city council to approve us to do that. So that's kind of where we are right now on the 2020 project. On the 2018 CIP, which is the Hospital North project, construction activity will likely start back up in May. We have some concrete repairs and some turf amendments. If you recall, we had some things that are going to happen in the boulevard. And then the final Ware Coast paving is going to be either later in May or early June, but by mid-June, we should pretty well be wrapped up with that project. So we're not sure if that's going to be impacted by everything that's happening in the world right now, but that is our current schedule that we're on. And we'll just take it as time comes to see if there has to be any amendments to timelines that would have to come back to the city council for approval. So Stantec is not here tonight, but they are available to us. They are actually all remotely working now, so it's something that's really becoming very popular, I see. But I've been able to reach pretty much everybody I've needed to, so.
Okay. Any questions on that?
No.
Okay, policy committee?
So the policy committee, which I think we just got Keith appointed to last council meeting now, so we can, regarding those snow removal bills that we were talking about. The committee, I haven't even got them together because we had the presidential primary and then we had the week of audit and then this week was out. So I'll try to get them together before we meet again to have a recommendation on what to do with those. On the Public Works hiring price list, which is item C, the applications deadline was Monday. And so now Ben and I are actually going through each our own packet, and we're going to rank them all with a T&E, and then we'll go to the Personnel Committee, we'll give them to you, and you guys can rank them, and then we'll take those and we'll see who our common denominators are, and we'll get them in for interviews. Our goal is to have someone working by May 1st if we can. That gives us a couple meetings in April. It's just a matter of getting the interviews scheduled and how we work that. So we'll try to turn those around to you two, so you'll have a few days to look at them as well. And then we'll, hopefully by the end of next week, we'll know who we're going to interview, and then we'll have to set those up.
How many did we get? Do you know?
I didn't even count them. Did you?
25 full-time, 5 seasonal.
25 and 5, I guess.
Wow.
Okay, good. And notice of arbitration award?
We did have that arbitration for the deductible grievance, and the grievance was denied, and so the city prevailed on that. So just kind of a little update for you on that.
Any questions on any of those items?
No.
Okay. We have no new business. Will bring us to our consent agenda. We have schedule of claims, unpaid claims of $144,696.33. Paid claims of $150 for a total of $144,846.33. We have February checks, claims / payroll of $604,000, or $604,118.39. We have Sauk Center Conservation Club Incorporated is requesting that a premise permit be issued to them to conduct pull tab gambling at the Bear Trap located at 43356 County Road 112. Resolution 2020-29 approving the gambling premise permit for the Sauk Center Conservation Club. We also have Sauk Center Area Chamber of Commerce has submitted an application and permit for a one-day temporary on-sale liquor license at the Sauk Center Civic Arena on April 18th, 2020. Fee and certificate of insurance is being provided. I think that is
That is now changed since then to September 26th.
September 26th.
26th or 25th?
I was told 26th, I think
I
it is.
think I read, okay.
Is that a Saturday?
I'm looking.
Okay,
Yeah, 26th is Saturday. I thought I saw the 25th somewhere.
okay.
Okay, that brings us, is there any questions or anything on the consent calendar as presented? Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Diane, do I have a second?
No second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Informational items.
I have a few informational items for you. Recall we have the local board of review and equalization coming up on April 13th at 1 p.m. here, and that could change, but at the present time it's still on. The Joint Airport Zoning Board public hearing that was previously scheduled for March 26th has been canceled. We're going to get back together next week and reassess what that date could be rescheduled for. I have included in your packet, Ben and I met with the League of Minnesota Cities. It's a loss control meeting. We meet with them every year. Every year it's a different subject. This year the purpose of the visit was to discuss techniques to assist us with preserving the buildings from damage through prevention and early detection. And I included that in your packet for you to read. It just kind of talks about maybe some suggestions to use infrared cameras. You can check your roofs, your flat roofs. And also we talked about using the drone with infrared to fly over the flat roofs to check for, you can find water leaks that you don't know you had with that. And some other techniques that she's coming up with that the league is trying to encourage us to use, including with updating some checklists on when we inspect buildings. So that was kind of the primary purpose of that. She didn't find anything that we were doing wrong. She was just trying to give us some ideas to do more than we are currently doing. Some people, I have a couple things, and this has more to do with the coronavirus, and we have put some information on the website and also on our Facebook that we're trying to push out to people. There's a lot of information out there. I would encourage everybody to link up with the Stearns County website, which will put you to the Minnesota Department of Health. It'll put you to the CDC, so you'll get the most accurate and up-to-date information. I did put that link to Stearns County on our website and on Facebook, so people can just link it. It'll take them to their site. They're keeping that updated. What we're doing here at Sauk Center is City Hall is open. If you saw, employees only go upstairs. Downstairs, we're trying to do the social distancing. We're encouraging the public to call or conduct business online whenever possible. We're taking payments over the phone, requesting regarding permits, those reservations. Public has very limited access to this building. The Public Utility Office also remains open, but they're only drive-up window only. The Senior Center is closed until further notice, but Meals on Wheels is still happening, and they're serving that out of Albany. The library is also closed. The driver's license testing at the Civic Arena has been canceled for March 18th and March 25th. At the current time, the state has suspended all testing until the 27th, and then they'll reassess if they'll be back here after that date. The wine and beer tasting event at the Civic Arena on March 28th has been rescheduled to May 16th. The Chamber Purse Bingo and Spring Out event has been rescheduled to September 26th. So these are kind of things that are happening in city buildings. What we've been doing here as staff is just trying to get as much information. You know, we do have 65 high-risk exposure, people that are high risk to exposure, being the police, fire, and ambulance personnel. And so they're constantly working to make sure that they have the correct PPE equipment, they're following the correct protocols, because that is changing daily. So we've been in touch with that. These are all things that we're trying to work on. As far as getting information to the public, encourage everybody to follow what's recommended to do and be smart about it. And we'll just keep moving forward. As things become available, we'll keep pushing it out to you, and like I said, through Facebook and through our city website. A lot of people are having a lot of questions about what we're going to do for businesses, what are we going to do for people, what happens with unemployment, what about work comp, what if I'm quarantined. And a lot of our ability to provide assistance to people is still limited by statute unless the governor or somebody waives that, or if this, so we'll just keep working within our means. The other question is, we have a council meeting scheduled for April 1st. It's quite possible we may go for a teleconferencing type meeting. So in a pandemic situation, you can do that as long as one of you is here. So we might have one person here, you might be at home, you might be somewhere else, and we can all communicate that way. So that's something that we're looking into. It still does not violate the open meeting laws as long as we meet certain criteria, so kind of watch for that. And I don't know if I mentioned the gun show.
No.
Okay, so the gun show, we're reassessing on Monday whether the gun show will be canceled. It's a little bit outside that window of where they're telling you to cancel everything, but it's very possible that it would be anyway. It's either that they'll elect to cancel it, or we will cancel it from the city side as it being in a public building. So we'll let that information, and we'll get that out sometime next week, whether that is still on. So if anybody has any questions, you know, feel free to call City Hall, or I said, get into that Stearns County website. That'll put you in touch with the CDC and the Department of Health. And I encourage people to use those websites so they're not picking up all this information that's out there that's scaring people, I should say. But they have updated their information on if you get sick, how long before you can come back. So I encourage people to read up on it. So.
Questions? Concerns? I just want to say again, if you have questions, call City Hall. Don't come in. Keep everybody safe and be smart about what we do.
And we do have a couple of us set up, so if we do get sick or whatever, we can work remotely. So we will pay our bills and the employees will get paid. So everybody was concerned about that.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our agenda. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Joe, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Heidi. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Meeting adjourned.